Today we are taking up three different issues. First is the issue of Jammu and Kashmir, asking several questions out of the issue of Jammu Kashmir, wondering if the union government has any long-term roadmap at all. Is there any long-term roadmap with which the union government is dealing with the Jammu and Kashmir problem? हम ये पूछते हैं कि क्या केंद्र सरकार के हाथ में कुछ ऐसे लॉन्ग टर्म डीलिंग करने के लिए कुछ प्रोग्राम है, कुछ ब्लूप्रिंट है, जिसके तहत उनके हर एक कदम आगे बढ़ते जा रही है, नहीं तो कुछ रुकावट है? कुछ ऐसे प्लान है क्या आपके हाथ में? डिस्क्रिमिनेशन policies of discrimination against Leh and Jammu, Ladakh and Jammu region continues even today. And there is no assurance at all for the Kashmiri Pandits and the Sikhs who are suffering due to ethnic cleansing policies. Policy in the sense ethnic cleansing which is happening there. So Kashmiri Pandit या सिखों का प्रोटेक्शन के लिए कुछ कदम दिखाई नहीं दे रही, मगर उनका हालत रोज दिन ब दिन बढ़ती जा रही है. उनके ऊपर, उनके खिलाफ जो भी हमला हो रही है वो ज़्यादा भी होते आई है. सभी मेशर्स जो केंद्र सरकार उठा रही है कश्मीर के ऊपर, हमें लगता है कि बहुत ही एड हॉक है. All the measures which are being taken by the union government appear to us as being absolutely ad hoc. Therefore, we feel, is there a long-term plan to deal comprehensively with Jammu and Kashmir? Sorry? हाँ, we are giving a statement. Statement है English और हिंदी में. The Prime Minister some time ago had formed 5 working groups. Just for our benefit, for a better comprehension of the situation and the statement that we are making, I'll just name the groups. The Prime Minister had formed 5 working groups. 5 ऐसे ग्रुप्स को, गठ बोलते हैं, ग्रुप्स को प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने फॉर्म किए हैं. एक था गुड गवर्नेंस के ऊपर, दूसरा था इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर. ये गुड गवर्नेंस वाला है, एनसी सक्सेना जी के नेतृत्व में चला. गुड गवर्नेंस एनसी सक्सेना के नाम पे, और इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट वाला श्री सी रंगराजन जी के नेतृत्व में. तीसरी थी रिलेशंस अक्रॉस द लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल, LOC की उस पार की, which was headed by M.K. Rasgotra. Then there was one on the confidence building measures. इस ग्रुप, the 4th group, इस ग्रुप के चीफ थे मोहम्मद हमीद अंसारी. And the 5th one was on center-state relationship, which was headed by, as you all know, Supreme Court Judge Justice Sagir Ahmad. इसमें इधर हम जस्टिस सागिर अहमद जी की रिपोर्ट के ऊपर एक हमारे ओपिनियन रख रहे हैं कि दैट वाज कंप्लीटली अनएक्सेप्टेबल. तब अब सबको भी जानकारी मिला कि जस्टिस जी ने एक मीटिंग भी, शायद एक ही बार बैठक हुई उस ग्रुप का, और उससे जो भी रिपोर्ट आया दैट वाज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल एट ऑल. सो हार्डली मेट, द ग्रुप हार्डली मेट, बट दे केम आउट विद रिपोर्ट. हम सबको मालूम है कि होम मिनिस्टर श्री पी चिदम्बरम जी ने पिछले 1 साल से क्वाइट डायलॉग एक प्रोसेस जारी रख रहे हैं, क्वाइट डायलॉग, जिसके ऊपर उनकी उम्मीद बहुत ही था. He was hoping, and he still, I suppose, is expecting and awaiting positive response through that quiet dialogue. ठीक है, हम इस साल 2010 में जितने भी इंसिडेंट्स हुआ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में, उसके बाद यूनियन गवर्नमेंट मल्टी पार्टी ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग के बाद में इंटरलॉक्यूटर्स को सेलेक्ट किए और उनको कश्मीर तक भेजे गए. हमें लगता है ये क्वाइट डायलॉग has now been substituted by sound bite unilateralism. We feel that the interlocutors who have been sent to Jammu and Kashmir, if we keep in mind Home Minister's quiet dialogue which has been happening for the last 1 year, the interlocutors who have gone there and who have started working have now substituted the Home Minister's quiet dialogue with soundbite unilateralism. क्या उनके हाथ में कुछ brief है? Have they been given some terms of reference? You might wonder that we are repeating this question. The interlocutors from among them, Shri Dilip Padgaonkar ji has very clearly said, no brief, no red line, we have not been given any terms of reference. He's repeated it more than once. But we are afraid. One, of course, I will remind you that the spokesperson of Congress party has contradicted it, saying they are working to some terms of reference. Shri Shakil Ahmed ji, spokesperson jo Congress ki, he has contradicted it. We'd like to remind you about that. But even more important, and we like to bring this to your notice, is the kind of statements that the interlocutors are making on almost an everyday basis, deciding on issues which will have to be decided, particularly on foreign policy related matters, on strategic considerations by the Government of India. Government of India has to take a call on what kind of foreign policy framework we will have based on the strategic requirements of the day or a blueprint. Whereas we are finding that the interlocutors are deciding whether Pakistan should be on, whether there should be a permanent solution. So the decisions that are being, or the opinions that are being voiced are very clearly out of the domain of a domestic interlocutor. Clearly out of the domain of a domestic interlocutor. To add to this, today the other member of the interlocutors who have gone, Ms. Radha Kumar, has gone to the extent of suggesting that she would suggest, and I would probably even quote, the quotation is given there to you all in the press release, that she would go to the extent of, when I say go to the extent, I am not quoting her, I will quote the words, exact line. She said that she would suggest amending the constitution in order that the spirit of Azadi, something to that effect, you can see the press release to get the quotation, spirit of Azadi is brought into the Constitution of India. We would like to remind that the Constitution is not a charter where you can bring in such kind of Azadi related matters and make it a statement or a tool for bringing in Azadi related matters. Constitution of India can never be allowed to become a charter for incorporating the sentiment of Azadi. It appears that the interlocutors are providing and self-determining the terms of reference for themselves. and also enlarging it by the day. We would like the Home Minister to please, we've asked the PMO to give us a very clear answer whether there was a brief given at all to them, and if it has been given, all the statements that are being made by the interlocutors, are they within the brief or are they out of it? Probably the Home Minister reads quieter interlocutors than quiet dialogue. So that's about the first one. It was a bit longer, but we thought we'll put it in context. The second one, the second topic that we're taking up today is on the speeches being made by Syed Ali Shah Jilani and Ms. Arundhati Roy. We are straight making a reference to the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, particularly the section which relates to it, Section 13. And Section 13 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act very clearly tells us that, just for your benefit, I will read one of the lines. In relation to the unlawful activity to an individual or association means that any action taken by such individual or association, whether by committing an act or by words, either spoken or written, or by sign or by visible representation or otherwise. Whole lot of things that's also being given to you all today. In other words, any person who supports any claim for secession of a particular part of the country is definitely bound to be taken action under this act, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And therefore we demand that if there is a notice brought under this section to any police station, act, they should refer to this, look into detail whether it comes under the purview of this act, and initiate the process of investigation. We strongly feel that even going by the details of the law, details of this particular act, which I am going into detail through the press note that is being given to you, it is only when a clearance has to be given for prosecution can the Home Ministry or the Union Minister himself can come into the picture. They cannot be, we don't see a role, in other words, we don't see a role for the Union Government or for that matter the Union Home Ministry to stop inquiring into the acts or committing of an offence under this act. So if there was a commission of secession supportive activities, the concerned police officer, the investigating officer, should necessarily start the process of prosecution. It is only at the stage of giving a sanction does the concerned ministry come, and that if it is in Delhi. If it's elsewhere, the state governments will have to give the permission, and permission only at the stage of clearing the sanction. But they cannot stop the police from inquiring into what has happened. They should look at the contents of the videographed proceedings and decide for themselves whether it is worth taking action under these Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The government cannot stop this process. So we would like to say that the Home Ministry or the Government of India has no authority to direct the Delhi police not to investigate into this matter at all if it is under the purview of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So that's about the second. The third one relates to just coming in story on how in the implementation of the 20-point program The top 4 states are NDA ruled states. First is Gujarat, second is Jharkhand, second is Chhattisgarh, third is Karnataka. Sorry. First is Gujarat, second is Karnataka, third is Jharkhand, and fourth is Punjab. More important for me to highlight in this press meet is the 10th in the ranking is Andhra Pradesh, and that's where the Congress comes into the picture. 20-point program, the first point of which is Garibi Hatao. कांग्रेस पार्टी पता नहीं किसके गरीबी हटा रहे हैं, उनके अपने गरीबी तो डेफिनेटली हटा दिया ड्यूरिंग द कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स, मगर आम जनता की गरीबी हटाने वाले सरकार पूरे के पूरे बीजेपी और एनडीए शासन वाले. वी आर ग्लैड टू शेयर दिस इंफॉर्मेशन विद यू. थैंक यू.
लेकिन इस पूरे स्टैटिस्टिक्स से केंद्र सरकार में नाराजगी है और उन्हें पूरे स्टैटिस्टिक्स को खारिज कर दिया है. सरकारी आंकड़े, इस पे क्या रिएक्शन है?
ये रिपोर्ट जो जायसवाल जी ने जिक्र करके बात कर रहे थे, बीजेपी ने तैयार करके नहीं दिए. केंद्र सरकार के आंकड़ा है, गवर्नमेंट की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट प्रिपेयर करते देते हैं रिपोर्ट, उसके खारिज करने में उनके अपने रिपोर्ट को वो खारिज कर रहे हैं. डेटा हम थोड़ी दिए उसको. सो व्हाट आर दे इंडिकेटिंग बाय बीइंग नाराजगी? नाराजगी कांग्रेस रूल शासन के ऊपर होना चाहिए, जहां गरीबी हटाओ की नाम मात्र रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है.
निर्मला जी, आपने जो मामले का जिक्र किया है, इसमें तो आपने प्रिवेंशन ऑफ अनलॉफुल एक्टिविटीज एक्ट का बताया. क्या बीजेपी अपनी ओर से किसी पुलिस स्टेशन में दिल्ली की जगह एफआईआर करवाएगी?
No, we have not done anything on that.
Why would you do it?
We'll consider your suggestion.
4 दिन से ये हल्ला गिलानी और अरुंधति रॉय के बारे में 4 दिन से ये हल्ला बीजेपी के डेली ब्रीफिंग में हम सुन रहे हैं. इसमें एक तो बात तय है कि गिलानी पहले भी कई बार अरेस्ट हो चुके हैं और यही बात वो पिछले कई सालों से दोहराते आए हैं. अभी भी जेल में गए तो फिर बाहर निकलेंगे तो वही बात दोहराएंगे. इसमें कोई नई बात नहीं है. अरुंधति रॉय का कश्मीर से कोई लेना देना नहीं है और कश्मीर से उनका कोई वास्ता भी नहीं है. अगर वो ये बात कहती है तो वो खुद चाहती है कि उनके ऊपर कोई केस कोई बना दे सो दैट शी विल गेट इंटरनेशनल पब्लिसिटी. तो आप ये करके क्या मतलब अरुंधति रॉय को सपोर्ट कर रही है या क्या कर रही है?
See, the law of the land will have to be respected against anybody. If there is a law which is applicable for the offences if committed by Arundhati ji, which is what the Home Minister told us, told all of us, that he's got the videotape, the department is looking into it, and if there is enough reasons to believe that they were seditious speeches, they would take an action. Today we are saying not only 124, which is IPC section 124 on sedition, but also on the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, there's clear reason to believe that if they find it seditious, or if they find it that the speeches are relating to or advocating secession of a particular part of this country, it tantamounts to violation of law. And therefore we are asking again that the government take action. Now, to tell us or to tell anybody in this country that you will unnecessarily be making a martyr of somebody, so let us not take action. Under the Unlawful Prevention Act, that option does not exist with the government. The investigating officer should go ahead with the process of prosecution, and at the time of giving sanction, the concerned authorities may give or may not give us a different story. But at least one thing is very clear: the government cannot stop the process of prosecution, which is within the hands of the investigating officer. He should inquire, look into the recorded proceedings, the videotapes, and see if there is reason to believe that under the Unlawful Prevention Act, can they be prosecuted? And if they can be prosecuted, the case should be built up. And if they are seeking consent from the authorities, then the department or the concerned ministry comes into play of that particular state government. In Delhi state, you will call on the Home Ministry. That extent, at least the activity should happen, and on that the government cannot stop the investigating officer. The point we want to underline here is the government cannot stop the officer, investigating officer, from starting the process of prosecution. That's what is important, and that's what we want to underline. And even more important, I think, is there should be clarity in implementing the law. You cannot implement it where you choose to implement, and where you cannot, you don't want to, you cannot say, no, we are not giving, we don't want to make a saint or a martyr or somebody. Let the law be applicable for all instances if found necessary, and if the commission of the act has happened under a particular law. Why are you selective is our question. And under the Unlawful Prevention Act, you cannot even be selective until the case is built up by the investigating officer. उनको क्यों रोके? उधर तक तो लेके जाना था. Yeah, just one minute.
निर्मला जी, जो वार्ताकार है जम्मू में गए तो जम्मू बीजेपी ने उसका बहिष्कार किया. अब एक वार्ताकार दिल्ली पर दावा कर रहे हैं कि दिल्ली आने के बाद वो अडवाणी जी से मुलाकात करेंगे. क्या जम्मू में जो भाजपा बहिष्कार किया वार्ताकार का, दिल्ली में अडवाणी जी से मुलाकात करेगी?
But I'm not sure yet. Although there are reports that the state unit is boycotting it, I'm not sure yet about that point. Whether they are really boycotting is something which I have to come back to you on. I don't know whether they are really boycotting. I know there are reports, but I cannot confirm it.
I have a question.
We don't know. As of now, there is nothing that we have to say on that. Yeah.
Madam, I would like your responses to two questions. One is that your MP in Rajya Sabha, Mr. Ramjesh Malani, has said that, and he's a former law minister, he said that your stand on the interlocutors and what you have stated for the last 2 days is idiotic. Would you like to respond to that? And the second question is about the fight between Mr. Narendra Modi and Sushma Swaraj. I mean, what has really transpired? Who has spoken to whom? Why has Mrs. Swaraj made a statement, and has Narendra Modi responded to that? We would like to clarify.
Yeah. On the first question, not every comment deserves a response, so I'm not giving a response on it. And on the second,
Neena ji, please listen or answer.
he is.
Your Indian government engaged Mr. Jethmalani to speak on the track 2 level to Kashmir leaders. It was a government move. He was given that status by Mr. Vajpayee.
Very well.
Thank you.
My answer to that has been given, and even Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad, as chief spokesman, has also responded on it, and that remains as our answer. And on the second question, which Purnima ji you raised, sorry. Okay. See, on the second question, you've heard what Sushma ji has said, and there's nothing more to add. Whether there was a brief, whether there was somebody speaking to one leader or the other is not anything that we need to disclose here in the public domain. It may be. We have nothing more to say on it. If it's in the public domain, very well, Neena ji, but we have nothing more to say on that.
Thank you very much.
हाँ
हाँ पूछिए.
क्या अभी मामला सुलझ गया है निर्मला जी? अब दोनों नेताओं के बीच में कोई विवाद नहीं रहा जब
हम विवाद नहीं करते.
बयान किया है.
There is no issue at all in the first place. उसमें कुछ ही समस्या कुछ ही नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है.
मेरा सवाल ये था कि जैसे जेठमलानी जी पर आप टिप्पणी नहीं करना चाह रही हैं, सुषमा जी मोदी जी का प्रोग्राम आया गडकरी को डिफेंड करना पड़ा, उस पर आप बिहार में के जेडीयू वाले राज्य उन्होंने कह दिया कश्मीर के और उन्नति राज्य से अलग जा रहे हैं, तो इसके बाद भी क्या उन्होंने पार्टी से कुछ ठीक ठाक चलता पार्टी
इतने सारे बात मैंने बोली पार्टी के तरफ से, और क्लीन 3 मुद्दे उसके ऊपर ऑलमोस्ट लेक्चर के जैसे आपको एक्सप्लेन किए पार्टी के स्टैंड. इसके बावजूद भी आपको मिल रहे हैं इश्यूज बात करने के लिए. काफी है, आज का काफी है, आज के लिए काफी है. वही तो ना, 4 दिन से हो रही है और हम हर एक दिन आपसे बात कर रहे हैं.
I'm coming to now.
Never, not at all.